Hey there, how's it going? My name is Christian. Welcome to my channel. I am Christian M, a place where I decided to document my attempted journey to financial independence from scratch. Now, financial independence can have several meanings for different people, but in our case, we're just simply referring to trying to get to a point where we are generating enough in passive income to cover our living expenses. So if that is something that is of interest to you, please consider subscribing, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a like as well. It helps to get it out there, more people that could benefit from this information. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about some limiting beliefs about money and some money mindset shifts that we may need to have, right? And I'll start it off with a little story, I guess, more of a little encounter that happened with so my cousin, her brother, which is also my cousin. The encounter was between him and a guy that he came across, right? So they had traveled to Miami, and they were at a very, very, very fancy hotel. He's got some connections and some connections, let's just put it that way, right? And of course, there are very wealthy people there, and the kind of cars that come around, foreign cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, Mercedes, you name it, right? And he was out there in front of the hotel, right? They've got valet service, and he was out there in front of the hotel, standing, waiting for his car to be brought. And while they were waiting, he was standing next to one of the valet guys, and I think it was some car pulled up. It was probably like a Lamborghini or something that pulled up, and so they're both looking at the car. That's my cousin and the valet guy. They're both looking at the car, and my cousin's looking at it, admiring, and then he turns and says to the valet guy, "That's really nice, isn't it? I bet you'd like to have one, wouldn't you?" And the valet guy said something in response that just broke my heart when I heard it. He said, "Yeah, that's a nice car, but that's not for people like me. I can never have something like that." I'm like, man, like this guy, it's a young guy, right? And he was probably like in his, I want to say like his mid-20s or so, and with his whole life ahead of him, right? Whole life ahead of him, with, a chance to do something. And he doesn't even realize it, but he's basically subconsciously committed to a life of poverty, right? He has already set his mind to know that it's not possible for somebody like him to have something like that, okay? And what's really interesting to me on the flip side, my cousin who happens to be standing next to him, it's funny, when he was younger, and this is not to say he's incredibly successful right now, but when he was younger, he used to walk around with like a set of Porsche keys on his cars, right? A set with a Porsche logo or like a key fob or something like that, or I don't know. Actually, no, there were a set of Porsche keys. I don't know where he got them. Maybe they were like fake or something, a toy. But anyway, he had like some kind of Porsche logo on his car that anybody looking at it would think he drives a Porsche, right? Of course, he didn't have a Porsche at the time. He was probably driving like a Toyota or Corolla, something much cheaper at the time. And his sister, who's my cousin who I'm with all the time, she said to him, she saw it for the first time one time, and she asked him, like, "Why do you always walk around with these keys with like these Porsche keys as if you have a Porsche when you don't have one?" And he says, because even though he doesn't have one day, he's gonna have one day, and he's determined that he's gonna have one. Do whatever and figure out whatever it takes to make it in life, And that's just like two different contrasting ways of thinking. And the funny thing, my cousin, who is his sister, she encouraged him. She was like, "Oh wow, that's great," for somebody who doesn't think bigger and all that. My sister could have very well have laughed at him and just been like, "Man, you're never gonna." And bear in mind, we're you know, we're regular, like regular middle class families, you know, nothing, we don't come from money or anything like that, right? And that was good, you know. She has that mindset that, okay, well, you know, like her brother, who's already looking at the fact that, oh, he's, you know, he's always had a taste for like the better things in life, you know, even if he didn't necessarily come from that. But it's just that mindset of thinking. And guess what? Not too long ago, this was something he was doing like maybe 10, 12, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, a while ago. But guess what? He ended up having his Porsche, okay? He ended up having his Porsche, right? Figured out a way to do whatever he needed to do, learned whatever he needed to learn to make the money that he needed to make to buy that Porsche, okay? Now, this is not to say that, you know, like we're looking at all materialistic things and those are the only things that matter in life, you know? Different things matter to different people. But the point is, he did not settle for the fact that he did not come up in wealth, right, so to speak, right? His situation was, you know, it was like he worked for whatever he tried to do, you know. And I'm just looking at this valet guy, you know. He's basically just committed to a life of poverty. That's essentially it. And that's his mindset, okay? And this is what I'm talking about, like having that mindset shift. Like, I mean, we talk about all this. I'm here, right? I'm not in any way, shape, or form doing anything great, right? I'm not, like, I'm just a regular guy. As a matter of fact, like, I'm, you know, just when I talk about like documenting my journey to financial independence from scratch, I say that from the standpoint that when I say from scratch, I'm saying that because I'm not, like, I don't have any kind of head, like, I'm trying to show stuff that anybody can watch and start doing. And this is not to say that I've already got it figured out, like I know what I'm doing. No, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out, right? I'm still trying to find more success, right? And well, it's not just success in general. In this case, it's just more about, you know, trying to get to that point of, you know, generating enough passive income whereby I can cover all my living expenses, okay? So that's just it's if you got to have the right people around you. That's another thing, you know. There's this saying, like, we are a product of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. That is a very true statement. I look at that valet guy, and, you know, maybe through no fault of his, he's probably maybe, you know, his family, they might not necessarily be the wealthiest people in the world, right? And all his friends are people who don't have much, right? They're not necessarily trying to do bigger things and all that. So even though he's there in Miami, seeing all of these people who are doing big time things, I mean, you know, Miami's a place of everybody, like, so many people have money there. And even though he's in an environment like that, his mindset is more of, he can't do that, right? He's looking at it like, I can't do this, as opposed to, how can I do this, right? So that's just we have to, if you want more in life, you have to make that shift, right? And we got to dream. You got to dream. Talk about what is it? Talk about the people you're around. 90% of the wealth in the world, right, is owned by, what is that? So it's like maybe like 90+% is owned somewhere. Figure around there is owned by like the top 10% richest people. All right, and because of that, you think about it. You know, most of us, you know, that being that bottom 90%, we're all just conditioned to be okay with where we're at, right? You know, we're all, you know, we're just basically all, essentially all conditioned to accept that we're going to spend our entire lives on the lower rungs of the ladder of life, right? We see those higher rungs as unattainable, right? As unattainable. And again, if you want to be, again, it's not, you know, a lot of people are happy with the way they are, right? It's not, again, it's if you're, I'm just speaking to those who are interested in trying to do a little bit more, right? If they want to do more, there are people who have a lot less and they are extremely happy, and that is perfectly fine, right? But there are, on the flip side, a lot of people who are not necessarily happy with where they are, and they think they're confined to only being that way, right? You can try to do more, okay? You can try to do more. You can try to do more, and if you're part of that gang, let me know, okay? Like, if you got to dream big, right? Since 90% of us at the bottom are conditioned to think a certain way, anytime you want to do something bigger, most of the people around you are gonna laugh, right? They're gonna say you're crazy, or it's not gonna work, or what do you think? Why don't you just go get a regular job and all that? So you got to dream, and whatever dream you have, if people aren't laughing at whatever dreams you have, then you're probably not dreaming big enough, okay? If people aren't laughing at those dreams, you're probably not dreaming big enough. And that's the other thing too. I think it was, I believe it was Bill Gates that said this. He said, it's not your fault if you're born poor, but it is your fault if you die poor, okay? We can do something about it. We can do something about it. That rings true, I would say, to a certain extent, right? But if you are in any kind of developed country, like even like, you know, here in the US especially, if you're born poor over here, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it is your fault. This is 2024, there's all kinds of stuff we can do to make money. So just something to think about, guys. I want to know what some of your dreams are. Please let me know in the comments. Share, tell me what you're dreaming, what you're aspiring to. You guys having an idea of what I'm trying to do here, right? As a matter of fact, I think I'll save that for another video. I'll try to go a little more into detail with reference to the whole financial independence and what that exactly means to someone like myself, okay? Thank you guys ever so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will catch you in the next one. It is hot out here. Ciao.